stunning looks than swift.
The world champions need a win at this World Cup. Hello and welcome to Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPNcricinfo Matchday, and we're here to discuss England's next fixture. They're up against Bangladesh. I've got Wasim, Jaffer and McClenaghan with me. Wasim, it's almost feeling like pressure a little bit early for England. They want some points on the board, don't they?
They do, yeah. They're defending champions, and the way they lost, that's a little embarrassing for them, knowing how good they are in this format. They just need to probably rethink their strategy about how they want to bat. It's going to be a good batting conditions in Dharamshala. We've seen that when Bangladesh played Afghanistan. They just need to be a little bit more sensible about it. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose two back-to-back games and then put pressure on yourself. They're already under pressure.
So would you want them to put away that uber-aggressive approach and just to build innings a bit better? Or when you say reassess their batting, what do you mean? Yeah,
kind of. I mean, you still have got all the players who can play, from gear 1 to 5, but they just need to assess the situation a little bit better. In the first game, I thought they were ultra aggressive. The way Root got out and the few of the batters got out, they got in and got out. If one of the top batters goes on, get a big 100, and the other guys plays around them, and not to think about scoring, 350 or maybe 370. I don't know what kind of score they've got in mind. But if they bat a little bit more sensible, they'll still score at good clip. So yeah, I mean, they just got to be a little bit more smarter, I would say.
Okay, and they'll also be hoping to welcome back Ben Stokes, who missed the first match. Mitch, if he's fit, how would you restructure that team to fit him in? I mean, you have to fit him in, obviously.
Yeah, look, it's going to be Livingston or Harry Brooks going to fall out of favour. So I'd imagine they're probably going to replace Harry Brooks, even though he looked good before he got out to Ravindra. I just think he just hasn't got the stripes on his back as much as Livingston has done, and Livingston's so important for them at the back end and plays spin so well. So he'll be a big boost, because what they did lack was potency with the ball and having another wicket-taking option in that middle phase. Mark Wood had an off night against the New Zealanders. He's usually their go-to with Rashid, but neither of them were able to break that partnership between Conway and Ravindra. So Stokes has that uncanny ability just to be able to break a partnership, and he'll be welcome back with the ball as well.
As you mentioned, a little bit of lack of potency with the ball. Would you try and find a way to squeeze Reece Topley into the 11 given that, or would you say the bowling attack remains the same and they've just got to work with what they've got?
No, you read my mind. You absolutely read my mind. And I was thinking it was obviously a toss-up between Sam Curran and Reece Topley in the previous game. And Reece Topley just offers you a little bit more in the one-day game than Sam Curran does. Sam Curran in T20 cricket, I think, is a very good player. Batters have to go after him, which makes him even more exceptional with the ball. But in one-day cricket, you've got to create chances. And I think Reece Topley at the top gets a little bit more bounce, a little bit more swing with bounce, and that's how you get the top-level players out. And in the middle, he can extract some extra bounce than Sam Curran can. And at the back end, he's got a great array of change-ups and exceptional Yorkers. So in the one-day format of the game, I would have Reece Topley ahead of Sam Curran.
Yeah, let's turn now to Bangladesh, Wasim. It was a dominant performance from them in their opener. What do they need to do to beat England? And just bear in mind, they've got a pretty good record. It's a 50-50. They've beaten them twice at World Cups before.
Yeah, I thought they played well in the first game against Afghanistan. Courtesy, few mistakes from Afghanistan as well, but they've got most bases covered. Their top order needs to fire, especially the opening department. But other than that, I think they've got most bases covered. They've got real good mix of youth and experience. The fast bowling department is quite decent. Spin has always been their main thing, and Saqib doing really well. Mehdi Hasan Miraj bowling and as well as batting at number 3 and 4, I think give them a lot of stability down the order. So they just need to do the basics right, and I think they are a side probably who can upset them again. They've done that before to England, so you never know.
Mitch, how do you reckon the Bangladesh spinners will stack up given what they saw New Zealand do at the same, was it at the same venue? No. Against England, not at the same venue.
Yeah, no, how do I think they'll go? I mean, look, you've got Shakib there, right? He's class. But it's off the back of some really good fast bowling that is starting to come through in the Bangladesh side. Shariful Islam is a handy left-arm pacer, swings the ball at pace. He's good at the top. Then Fazur, like we all know what he can do. And Tuscanama's almost become the leader of that attack and just makes the spinner's job a little bit easier if you're not bowling to a guy who's been in for 10, 15 overs. And we saw that against Afghanistan. But I'm going to have to say what Wasim said. It comes down to their top order. I think Tanzit Hassan, he's played 7 games. Yeah. He's averaging just under 7. He's in there in replacing the man who shall not be named for Bangladesh. And that is the weakness in this side. There's no doubt about it. Their batting is their weakest side. Barring Shanto, who's been absolutely phenomenal in recent times, he's the only one who's really looked like he's going to put any runs on the board.
Yeah, Shanto, 4 half-centuries in succession there. Wasim, given what Mitch has said, what do you think Bangladesh's best chances of beating England are? Should they look to bat first or bowl first, and kind of which option will give them the edge?
I think any team that wins the toss will look to bowl first because it's in Dharamshala.
And a day game.
Yeah, and it's a day game, so you might have a little bit of moisture knowing that it's covered with snow around. So there might be, the temperature drops there. So you might have a little bit of moisture there. So saying that their fast bowling attack is decent, so they can get 1 or 2, 3 wickets early, and that can put pressure on England. So I think any team that wins the toss will bowl first, and they've, like I said, they've got the bowling to bowl well on the conditions, and batting again. Those guys need to step up. Shakib as a batter, and Shanto we've said, but Mushfiq, Tawhid Ridoy, and Mahmudullah Riyad, they've got experience as well. So they've got most bases covered. Even if they bat first, they just need to put up a score, and they've got the bowling to upset some better teams.
Yeah, and I have to ask the both of you, have you seen any images of the outfield, or did you have a look at it, and what do you think there? Maybe Mitch can go first.
Yeah, look, it's really interesting, right? It's I know there's been a lot to be said about the outfields, and we saw Conway put his knee through. We've seen a few players throughout this tournament put their knee through the surface, and it's actually something that I've done previously in the IPL when Jonty Rhodes was our fielding coach, and even before the game where I put my knee through the turf, he'd actually said, look at the outfield, it's a little bit soft, so you're going to have to slide landing on your hip first so your knee doesn't stick into the ground. So yes, if you go in with your knee, that's going to happen. You're going to see some injuries caused by that. But it's also a technical issue, right? Like, you have to be able to adapt to conditions, and you have to be able to slide in a different way. So rather than just blaming the outfield or the conditions, you've got to be able to adapt as a player as well.
Yeah, so we'll be watching not just the batting and the bowling, but also exactly how the teams choose to go about fielding in Dharamshala, where England are going to take on Bangladesh in the second game of their World Cup campaign. Thanks for joining us here on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. We'll catch up with you with all the news from that game on the show.
Stunning looks, then swift.